Hi, it's me, Thrill, and it's time to explore. Explore the wonders of the world with me. In the middle of the 19th century, Jose Maria Boccabella, president of the Holy Brotherhood, planned to build a church in Barcelona and dedicated it to the Holy Family. But over a century later, it remains uncompleted. This week, we are at the Sagrada Familia, the largest unfinished Catholic basilica in the world, designed by Gaudí, who is very famous for his architecture in Barcelona. It is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. While the Sagrada Familia was first designed to be a simple Roman Catholic church, it was declared a basilica in 2010 by the Pope Benedict XVI. The big question is why? Why has it remained unfinished over 140 years later? Let's begin with some history. The plot where the basilica stands was purchased in 1866 by Jose Maria Boccabella, who was a Spanish bookseller and philanthropist. The designing project was initially assigned to the diocese architect Francisco de Paula del Villar in 1882, and he went on to design the basilica with neo-Gothic elements such as ogival windows and buttress until some fundamental disagreement with Boccabella about the cost of materials and more began. He was then replaced with Gaudí, who was starting to stand out in the field of architecture. In 1883, Gaudí, still working on other buildings, took over the project. He started to incorporate his own, more modern architectural style in the original designs. Gaudí was a Catholic, so he incorporated religious symbolism in his architectural designs. This is why he designed the highest tower of the Sagrada Familia to reach 170 meters, so it would not exceed the Montjuic Hill. The Montjuic Hill is a broad, prominent hill in Barcelona, Spain, known for its rich history, diverse attractions, and cultural significance, including museums, gardens, and more, as Gaudí considers the hill as the work of God. In 1914, Gaudí started to exclusively work on the basilica, but he was in no hurry to finish the project. This is also evident from his famous statement, "My client, God, is in no hurry." When Gaudí died, only a quarter of the Sagrada Familia was finished. Someone needed to take over the project. The construction of the basilica has since been continued by various architects who based themselves on Gaudí's original designs. The basilica is renowned for its intricate organic architecture, incorporating symbolic elements into its design and towering over the city with its distinctive facades and twisted towers. Every part of the basilica is symbolic. From the facades, characterized by a multi-layered symbolism, the floor plan of the church is full of symbols. Every door, every pillar, and almost every surface has its own specific or symbolic meaning. These allusions and parables refer to the individual Catalan and important Spanish dioceses, to every church in Latin America, and to each of the 5 continents. Additionally, sculptures are bound from the apostles, great founders of the order, and especially revered saints, the theological virtues, the sacraments, and much more. The burning question is, when would it finally be completed? The Sagrada Familia remains unfinished, primarily due to its complex design, reliance on private donations, and significant delays caused by historical events like the Spanish Civil War and even recently the COVID-19 pandemic. During the Spanish Civil War, some of Gaudí's original plans and designs were destroyed in a fire, and this halted the construction for extended periods. The architectural complexity of the church, a magnum opus of Gaudí, also necessitated the development of new digital and robotic tools to complete the intricate work after the original designs were lost. The Sagrada Familia is now expected to be finished in 2026, but there are still bumps on the road to the completion of this ginormous project. In 1975, the church filed a lawsuit to stop the construction of a housing block opposite the Glory facade. Nowadays, this type of conflict still exists. The polity wants to take down 1,200 houses and retail properties to create a space for a 60-meter wide boulevard and a huge monumental staircase. This staircase should become the main entrance to the Basilica on the Glory facade. Over 140 years later, there's a lot still to be done, but the church is optimistic about the completion year of 2026, coinciding with the centenary of Gaudí's death. When it's finished, the Sagrada Familia will be the church with the highest towers in Europe. Now, if you're wondering what it costs to visit or tour this masterpiece, a visit to the Sagrada Familia can cost from 20 euros to over 50 euros, depending on the ticket type and age. Basic tickets start around 20 to 25 euros, offering access to the Basilica. Tickets with an audio guide are a few euros more, while tower access is pricier, starting around 30 euros for adults. Prices are approximate and can vary, so it is best to check the official Sagrada Familia website for current rates. Every year, the Sagrada Familia presents its annual report, sharing the previous year's financial data, milestones, and goals. In 2024, over 4.8 million people visited the Basilica. Yes! The Sagrada Familia is also open all year round, but the operating hours change seasonally. The Basilica has always been funded by private donations and entrance fees, making its progress dependent on public generosity and visitor numbers. The layout of the church has the shape of a Latin cross with enormous dimensions. Once finished, the Sagrada Familia will be one of the largest church buildings in the world. So, is this intriguing enough to be on your bucket list? Until next time.